Okay, here's my audience. Okay, thank you guys for coming. Online classes, masks, 6 feet of distance between us, and being stuck at home. That was the reality for many of us during the peak of 2020 of the COVID-19 pandemic. When schools finally reopened, a major question sparked debate across the country. Should the COVID-19 vaccine be mandated in public schools across the country? This issue matters to everyone here because it affects your personal health, your personal rights, and the health of those around you. That's why it's important we explore this topic from more than one angle. I've done extensive research to understand both sides of this debate, and today I want to share with you the information that I've learned, not to persuade you, but to help you see the full picture. Vaccine mandates in public schools aim to help protect public health, but they also raise concerns about religious freedom and individual choice. Vaccines have been around for decades and are already required in many schools, depending on where you live. According to the CDC, common ones include measles, mumps, polio, tetanus, and influenza type B. Vaccines aid your body in helping fight off different diseases and strengthening your immune system. According to the World Health Organization, vaccines stop most people from getting sick, but even after receiving all the proper boosters and waiting for your immunity to build up, there is still a possibility that you may get sick. Schools are an extremely high-risk environment, especially for younger kids whose immune systems are still developing and growing stronger. So vaccines play an extremely important role in keeping everyone safe. Mandating vaccines in public schools help prevent disease outbreaks, ensure equal access to safe learning environments, and has a long history of success. According to the CDC, polio was once an extremely fatal disease, killing approximately 1,800 people each year in around the 1950s. Then, after the vaccine was introduced, that number dropped to only 100 cases a year. This is a prime example that vaccines are extremely effective and help keep us safe. There is also a real example that is happening today with measles. Once again, according to the CDC, as of July 15, 2025, 1,309 cases of measles have been reported in the US. And in comparison, in 2024, the whole year, only 16 cases were reported. This is most likely due to the decrease in children getting vaccinated, which is driven by the fear of many parents. Vaccines help cultivate a safe environment, not only for the kids, but the educators as well. According to the National Education Association, medical experts conclude that when you have high rates of vaccination, it creates a herd immunity, meaning everyone is protected, even those who are too young or maybe allergic to the vaccine who can't get it. But in order to activate this, 95% of the community needs to be vaccinated. Today, that number is growing less than 95%, and we may see some common diseases that were very popular back in the day resurface. However, not everyone supports these sort of mandates, and these are valid concerns about individual rights and safety. The federal government is unable to mandate a vaccine nationwide due to the 14th Amendment, which states, "No state shall make or enforce any law abridging privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States or deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law." This means that we are protected by the Constitution to make our own decisions and choices regarding what vaccinations are given to us and our children. Historically, there have also been multiple cases of vaccines resulting in long-term detrimental effects. According to the CDC, in 1976, there was an increased risk of a serious neurological disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome that resulted from the swine flu vaccine. Then once again, additionally in 1998, the FDA approved the RotaShield vaccine. Shortly after it was licensed, some infants developed intussusception, which is a rare type of bowel obstruction that occurs when a bowel folds in on itself after being vaccinated. These are just a couple of examples, and I encourage you to go research more because there are many other instances in our history. These incidents have instilled a sense of distrust in the public regarding vaccines. The skepticism is further fueled by the belief that some pharmaceutical companies are influenced by outside interests, leading people to question their transparency and intentions. With all that being said, we have two different sides to this argument. One being vaccines have helped in the past protect our children, protect ourselves from a lot of these deadly diseases, but at the same time, we have a right to our own personal choice and freedom. So how do we balance that? I'm now going to ask you a couple of questions, and feel free to ask anything that you are interested in or, are wondering about. This is first like a yes or no, and then once you answer, explain why you think that. Do you believe vaccine mandates violate personal freedom?
Yes.
Okay, why do you think that?
Well, I think it just goes back to the whole my body, my choice. To your point, the 14th Amendment, which protects that. And I think, it is a balance of health and protecting your neighbors as well, but you have to, believe that first, I guess. It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Well, and everyone's bodies are different, so depending on what we're putting into our body, it is going to be different for each individual person. So say you have somebody who's pregnant or different scenarios, I think that it shouldn't be required for every single person because depending on your body and what you're putting into it.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add? Okay, so with that being said, how do you think we should balance these personal rights, individual freedom, with community safety? If we have a decision in our society saying we're not going to get a polio vaccine, do we let that happen, or what's kind of your take on that?
I think they did a good job with COVID, and you could make a choice not to have the vaccine, but that meant that you were going to be restricted in some ways, like air flight, things like that, where you would be potentially transferring the disease.
So, leading on to that, if you don't want your child to have this vaccine, do you think your child should be denied the right to go to a public school?
Yes and no.
It's a hard.
No right answer.
There's not.
It's really hard.
It's a hard because you have.
I feel like if you get to have that choice, if you're going to make the choice, there's going to be
repercussions.
a community effect, and so you have to be willing to take on that.
I think it comes to what's the tribe doing? If the majority of people are saying we're going to use this vaccine, you're going to be the outsider, and there might be consequences for going against the grain.
Well, and then you may even have to be somebody that has to prove why this would not be a benefit to you. And there's so many people who you can't have peanut butter and jelly in certain classes because they have kids with peanut allergies or whatever it is. So if there is something that you can back it up with, or on a religious side of that, then there's okay, well then you have to give us your backing and reasoning why, and there's been many decades upon decades of people who are excluded because of their religion, and if that's the choice that you make, then that's the choice you make. It's a martyrship, that's what you have to do.
100%. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think, Ellen?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. Me either.
You got another 30 years in this kind of stuff. You can be just like us.
Okay, I thank you for your participation. We've taken a closer look at how vaccines function and the essential role they play in stopping the spread of diseases, particularly in school environments where young immune systems are still developing. We've also acknowledged the other side, the real and valid concerns that many people have about personal freedoms, religious rights, and the trustworthiness of vaccine policy. In order to protect public health in schools, vaccines are a powerful tool, but we can't ignore that their use, especially when mandated, can challenge an individual's rights to choose and practice their beliefs freely. This is a difficult conversation, and many avoid it because it touches on deeply personal beliefs. But both sides offer meaningful points, and the only way to move forward is by talking about them openly and respectfully. So I'll leave you with this. When it comes to vaccines in schools, the question isn't just about science or freedom. It's whether or not we can build a future where both can stand side by side. Thank you.